Ductwork day.
It's a good thing it's getting cold. It's not getting cold, it is cold.
No, it's not cold. It's like almost 50 degrees.
Doesn't feel like that in here.
No, it's actually colder in here than it is outside.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think this spray foam insulation has made it like a freezer.
You're guarding the ductwork. Are you not proud of your work? So we're assembling ductwork, and Dave, well, we'll get to what he's doing in a minute. Here's one that's kind of finished. Actually, two that are kind of finished. Dave is trimming insulation so that it fits. Oh, look at that. Not much trimming needed there. It looks like an abominable job, a horrible job. As long as you get the suit on and everything, it's not that bad. If he doesn't have to trim it all up there on that one, that would be fabulous. So we have had to trim on another one. Let me show you down here what I did on this one down here. Down here near the bottom, I didn't have to trim too much. But as we got more near the top, I had to trim a lot. Here comes Mr. Snowman right now. I think the suit wasn't quite big enough for Dave. Back here.
I was gonna say, it could be a little cooler today. This wouldn't be half bad.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm wearing 3 layers, so.
Now it looks worse than it is, isn't it? I mean, it's not as unpleasant a job as what.
No, and it's not like it's real itchy. It's not like regular fiberglass insulation where you're just itching. And then I don't know what you guys figured out for cleaning it, but I just put it through like 4 cycles in the dryer and kept changing the filter. And it took it all off. And then there was stuff in the pockets and I just vacuumed it out.
So you didn't wash it first?
No.
Okay. Maybe that's what I did wrong. I washed your sweatshirt first.
Yeah, but even when you're not near it.
I tried to vacuum.
And the crazy part is it does create a tremendous amount of static electricity. So like we blow it off the suit and then it gets stuck right back to it. I will say that when I was doing this last time, I was completely covered in it and I got nice and warm. It's quality insulation.
We're using these little S-clamps here to fasten them together.
And these have been cut, so they're a little harder to get on.
The ends of them are kind of welded together.
Yeah.
See how that's... Neighbor Chris did the calculations for me and actually ordered all the parts. I really appreciate that. And so we've got all this prefabbed. Had some comments in an earlier video that in order to be the most efficient, we should have had a 4-to-1 ratio. We just didn't have that much space. So we're gonna do what we're gonna do. We'll see whether it works or not. If it doesn't, we'll have to come up with another plan. Our ducts are 28 inches wide and 4 inches thick. The goal is to carry 500 CFM in each duct. We found that putting these S-clamps on the 90s here works better than on the main duct because the 90s otherwise are not very straight at all. And those S-clamps are stiff enough to straighten them up. This is the fun part of DIY to me because I'm learning something new. I did the ductwork in the other shop. What was that face for? You don't think it's fun?
Not always.
This isn't fun? I thought this was fun. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now.
Not really.
Doing something different. I mean, I did the ductwork on the old shop, and we're doing it differently here with all this prefab duct. It's gonna be, well, it is more expensive to have all this stuff prefab than just using round ductwork. But I'm being real picky about where I want the supply outputs to come. So here's an example. This is one of the supplies right down here. Putting them by each door. We'll have one over by that door. And with that approach, we're going to try to have most of the airflow right by the doors, which are the least efficient places in the building. I had some HVAC guys tell me that since we were doing geothermal, in other words, keeping it at constant temperature, we have insulation under the floor, and having more airflow. With a geothermal system, we'll probably have more airflow than what we would with, say, a propane or natural gas furnace. But with that additional airflow, that they think it'll be pretty much constant temperature floor to ceiling, no matter where I put my ductwork. I tend to disagree. And so that's why I'm spending the extra money to get the ducts at the floor. Maybe I'm wasting my money. We'll find out. Okay, bring it toward me a little now. Okay, can you guys go east with your end and see if we can get it? Yeah. Keep voicing anything if you don't like it. Is it still stable? Yeah. Yeah, I can steady like this. Can you two lift it and bring your end on in? Okay. You good? I'm excellent. You're happy?
I'm happy.
I'm happy. Okay, it's held up here.
We were struggling to figure out how to trim the insulation behind this big beam. We used a wire brush on an angle grinder to reach as far as we could. Then Dave came up with the idea of attaching this wire brush to a broom handle.
Okay, if this is 3.5 inches, then we're doing pretty good.
It works beautifully, and he had that task accomplished before I even got over there to see him working at it. I can do these end pieces, I can put these on by myself, but I need Christy's help for the 4-footers here. Trying to put 2 of those 4-footers together is about more than I can do by myself.
Hey, IsoTunes has a special right now. You have to use the link in the description and then use code TTWT30. It's a Black Friday special. It's actually going to go on most of the season. But IsoTunes, if you haven't seen them in a while, I really like this style, especially this time of year. In the summertime, sometimes the neck thing bothers me a little bit, but in this time of year, it's great. This works really well for partial hearing protection. What I mean is part of the time, right? It's full hearing protection, but only part of the time. When I'm working with a team like this, I don't like stuff in my ears all the time, but if I'm going to be running a saw or something, just put them up, put them in my ears. The other advantage is that I can answer the phone like this. I have them paired with my phone. If I feel my phone ringing, all I have to do is pull them apart. Just the separation of those magnets answers the phone. I can put them in my ears and talk. It's really handy. And 30% off anything you buy at IsoTunes. And the link is in the description. Use code TTWT30. We ran out of tape, and Christy convinced me to buy some wider tape this time. And it's working better. Makes it easier if we don't get right on the center of these joints. The overall joint probably doesn't need any tape, but these corners are very open. Right up here in these corners, there's big holes, just the way the joint goes together. So it seemed easiest to me to tape the whole thing rather than just the corner. This tape is fairly simple to use. Actually, there's really only one trick, and that is don't tear the front side and the back side at the same place. Because as long as you keep these a little bit separate and wrinkle that a little bit, you don't have any trouble. But if you rip that all together,
Bad news.
it takes you about 4 or 5 minutes sometimes to separate the back from the front. Now we risk it yeah, that's better. Slow down a little bit, let me catch up. Okay, now come in. Just bend it out or something so it ain't holding us up. Something like that, yeah. And then that one down there right by you, is it?
No, it's
Okay.
good. I'll give her a little bend just so we don't have any problems.
Okay, I think we're looking pretty good, don't you?
It looks good to me.
This is the plan. See, the original girt was 1.5 inches thick, but we borrowed 3/4 inch of that so that this girt, the steel can go right along here. And then half of this 2x4 is still available for this girt to hit when the time comes. Now, I'm gonna leave part of it for the Amish to figure out because they need a girt coming in this way. They'll just have to toenail into this one or something. But I'm not gonna tackle that. I just didn't saw out enough of this, or else I didn't make the girt short enough. They wanted about 3 foot, so yeah, their girt should come right up against it.
Okay.
And the reason we want them at the same place is so they can go ahead and screw in the wall and know where it is, and the screws will all line up. I'm not measuring very accurately though, because I've got a 1x8 here, so I should be able to hit where they are. If not, we'll add another one when they get here.
Look, I know it doesn't have a seat or a motor, but you're gonna need it.
Oh well, hard to find good help, Dave.
Yes, it is.
You probably need to go with an H1B. I hear they're more talented. Well, that's not real easy.
When you're doing that, scrape and then turn it a little bit and scrape more, and it'll all come off. Because what you're doing is the brushes are hitting in the same spot every time, and then when you turn it sideways, it cuts the channels that it made off.
Okay. Can't remember exactly where the 3 foot was. I just screwed it in there somewhere. Too high by 1.5 inches. Okay, one more and we'll move on to the next task. Compounding error. 37.5. Right there below that, right at the bottom edge of that goofy knot. Well, I don't want the Amish guys to think I'm good at this. They might try to hire me.
I don't think that's a worry.
I think you're probably right. I'm good from 9 till 3. Unfortunately, they start at like 5. Lunchtime yet?
Yeah, somewhere.
I know I've shown this before, but I guess I'm just completely shocked at how good it does. I had the hopper totally full, so I had to lean it back a little bit. I can do a little trick here, lean it back, and that'll make the hopper contents go further back.
It's picking up the loose stuff here, but it does leave the stuck-on mud. Time and traffic breaks that loose, and we can run over it again and finish up.
I told Dave that when he brought the forklift in, he needed to wipe his feet a little bit, but he didn't pay a bit of attention to me.
Well, what I recommend is we'll get some Mini-X out and we'll dig a big hole out in the front and fill it full of water like they do at job sites.
Oh.
And everything just has to drive through the water before it comes in.
Oh, is that what they actually do? They actually dig the hole?
I think it's a concrete pit, but we've spent a lot of money this year and concrete's expensive, so we'll just, a dirt hole.
Okay.
We won't get anything stuck in that.
No. So here's what we're doing up here. We're gonna convert from our custom shape into just a round. We'll put flexi on that. I think I've got these on upside down to what I want. I think they're too high. So I'll probably take both of those off and put them on upside down to where they are now. And I've got to put those on the far end as well, and on this end. I think I'm gonna have to lower this duct a little bit. That's pretty high. I hope I can get all that under the conduit that I've got for the solar equipment there. I think this is gonna be the last episode before we have the Amish back in to work on the ceiling and the walls. I'm nervous about that because that's kind of a final thing, right? And I'm afraid I won't have everything ready. Got a little more to do on this duct in here. Don't really have it fastened yet, but we did get it up through that tight spot there. That was a big challenge for us. We used the forklift to raise it up and down to finish the construction at that stage. Now this part here is going to have a stud wall, and that's where we'll put all of our slat wall that we're going to put along all of this area here. Here's all of the adapter pieces from the long rectangular duct to the circular flexi. Now I'm not going to do the final electrical box mounting on the ceiling until the ceiling's actually put in. But I am going to try to get those boxes somewhat wired, roughed in, and yeah, they won't be attached to the trusses yet. And the reason is because we want to make sure that they're aligned with the ribs in the ceiling steel. So we'll have the Amish guys actually attach them to the truss in between ribs. But I'm going to try to get the boxes on that. You can see the looped wires. Well, maybe you can't, but hopefully you can see the looped wires. I'll try to get those boxes roughed in so they're just hanging there, ready for the permanent mounting. Had a pretty big negative deal this week. Christy calls it a catastrophe. Hard for me to even say that. Yeah, Bullseye broke his front leg this week. The last photo I have of him, the last time I saw him, I took a photo. He was way up at the top of the Hotsy house, up in the rafters. Bo was there too. It was their first day out after we had been back from the trip to the estate sale. Well, I came back, I don't know, an hour later, and he was hobbling. Yeah, we've got it all splinted up. Vets splinted it up and everything. Dave doesn't seem to be too concerned about the whole thing.
I'm just thankful it's not my fault.
Right. I'm thankful it's not my fault too, to be honest. Anyway, we don't actually know how he did it. Vet says it was the worst possible place for the break. He would be 50% chance that even with all the splinting that he did or she did, that it wouldn't heal. I actually don't know if it's a he or a she, Vet. Dave's getting the rest of these. I'm calling them girts. We're using 1x8s because that's what we had installed here. So the ductwork project is almost complete enough for ceiling. Just a little bit more to do up there. One vent pointing this way and one pointing the other way. Need a couple more girts on this one. Okay, so I expect this to be the last video before the Amish team comes in, as I mentioned. It may be a little while before we get to this because that won't happen until after Thanksgiving. We'll have a couple of other projects to show you before then. Hey, remember the ISOtunes? 30% off, I've never seen better. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.
To the angel of the church in Laodicea write, These are the words of the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the ruler of God's creation. I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish you were either one or the other. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth.